Hello, 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 beautiful creatures of the world, and welcome back to Coffee with Kerri-Lynn. We've got a little bit of a little more professionalism happening in the fiber studio. I don't want to ruin that homey feeling, and but we are upgrading things a little bit. So I'm still kind of getting used to everything. Takes a bit. Takes a bit. I'm old. I'm not as tech savvy as I used to be when I was younger, and this is not the kind of tech that we had when I was younger. So it's a whole new experience for me. You're watching an old lady trying to navigate the modern world. And of course, being, an off the gritter and stuff, it's really trying to navigate the modern world. I had a big modern life before we did all this, but there is drama. Drama, drama, drama. I'm going to spill the tea. Scandals are happening everywhere. There is a big YouTube scandal. There is a big Twitter scandal, and it's just kind of total all out unfolding. And I'm not going to get into the ins and outs of that scandal because that's not really where I'm going with this video. What I want to talk about is the problem living in this digital age and really what it's doing to our children. So as the story begins, a squabble happened between Brittany Venti, who has a YouTube, so go check her out. She is a journalist, and Eliza Bleu, who is a human trafficking survivor advocate, and she's on all kinds of social media. So a brew happened. I guess what was happening is, we all have pasts. Eliza Bleu also has a past, and people have been picking apart Eliza's story about being a trafficking survivor, and they've been coming up with some discrepancies. So what happened is these discrepancies all got forwarded to Brittany Venti, and Brittany started really investigating and fell down the Eliza Bleu rabbit hole and found some videos. So she screenshotted a few pictures from these videos and posted them on Twitter, asking Eliza to explain the years that Eliza said she was trafficked, and these videos part of the trafficking or whatever. And Eliza, took it as a shot across the bow, and she went after Brittany. And Brittany's Twitter account, Brittany Venti's Twitter account, was suspended, which also now comes with the hashtag free Brittany Venti. And Jeremy from the Quartering saw, and he took Brittany's post, her Twitter post, and he retweeted it, and then Eliza went after him, and apparently she knows Elon Musk very well. He's been working with her for to clean up the Twitter sphere of the nasty trafficking, nasty pornography and all of that stuff. So he's been working with Eliza. So now everybody's claiming that she went to Elon and he closed everybody's account down. So it's just now it's a scuttle between Jeremy from the Quartering and Eliza Bleu. She threatened legal action. Jeremy threatened her back, and it's that, okay? It's that kind of crap. And it all began when people started digging and started asking questions of Eliza, because she says she was trafficked. It's on video. She says she was trafficked, I think, between 1999 and 2015, 16, something like that. I'm not getting into this, but there's a discrepancy. There's these videos, and there's this whole, past that she has, and everybody has a past, and they're just drudging it through. And I'm not on Brittany's side, and I'm not on Jeremy's side, and I'm not on Eliza's side. And Chrissy Mayer got into it last night, and Eliza blocked her from the Twitter. So I'm not on anybody's side. This is just typical YouTube Twitter scandal. Okay, that's what this is. And the crux of it is, people don't want other people going into their past and asking questions. And that's the problem with living in this digital age. Yes, it is. Your past never goes away. It never goes away in this digital age. I mean, for time immemorial, what you record, the business deals, the stuff that you put out, go through the Crowder and the Daily Wire back and forth, tete-a-tete. I mean, it's all ugly stuff, and it's all right here on these social media platforms. And what you record is going to exist forever, 5, 10, 20, 100 years. All the things you allow the camera to capture, all your tweets, all your Facebook posts will exist for the world to see forever. Forever. Your opinions, here we go, there's Fiona. Your opinions, everything is just there. And how do you deny it when you're on a video and you're saying it? It's has a big bit difference between videos and photographs. And it's easier to explain away a weird photograph, especially if like it's just you in the photo, or maybe one or two other people in a photo, and it's just so obscure, and you hit the big time, and you can really explain that picture away and whatever. But a video says it all, guys. Video says it all, and it's all there forever for people to see. You can't retract things that you say on video. It's just there. Once you post it, it's done. You said it. You either said it with a smile on your face or you didn't, and that's it. And I'm glad that I didn't grow up in this type of insanity. My kids did. My kids were one of the first Facebook kids around. They grew up with MySpace. They grew up on the Facebook, and as they got older, they toned it down. They learned their lessons in high school that not everybody was their friend, and people were just out to screen grab things that they posted and use it against them in a small little argument in high school. So they learned not to live their lives on Facebook and Twitter and everywhere else. And now here I am a million years later living my life out loud on YouTube. But that's okay, because I'm an old woman, and that's just what it is. And I think these constant reminders of one's past is really having a negative impact on young people and their mental health. Because nothing goes away, everything and anything can be rehashed at a moment's notice by anyone who has the slightest grievance with you. That is a very bad thing. By posting all this stuff out there, you give other people control over you, whether you know it or not. You're giving them the opportunity to grab something from your past when you were in a bad mood, or your energy wasn't vibing, and you're allowing them to say, look, this is not the person that you think they are, because look at this video. And then that becomes this dramatic BS that's going on. Explain yourself, and you can't. You're having a bad day. You can't take it back. As in the case of what's going on with the Brittany Venti and Eliza stuff, that those are hip-hop videos that were screenshotted, and Brittany took 2 screenshots, and Eliza didn't like it, and they weren't nudes, but they were very risque. And now questions are coming up surrounding the fact that Eliza's an advocate for survivors, and Brittany's saying, hey, girl, looks a little weird. Can you kind of explain what you're doing or what you did in your past? What was this? And it's just escalated into this nonsense. And, when you get on these platforms and you're successful, and maybe you're doing something very noble and you're successful, and maybe you're just a social media influencer, you're into the famedom of social media, everyone is going to try to promote themselves off of your misery. And here it is on videotape, your misery, and then account for it. And it just leads to such fragile mental health states. People, young people, older young people, anybody under 52 is an older young person to me. And people are saying, I don't want to answer these questions, but you have to answer these questions because of what you're doing now, when actually they don't. People can change. Nobody has to answer questions from the past that are too painful for them. But with all this digging, especially around this Eliza Bleu situation, they, like I said, they have found her as Eliza Knows, Eliza Cuts. She dated or was engaged to and dated the one of the band members of My Chemical Romance, and there's a big thing about that. And it's crazy. It's crazy. You always have a fear when you record this stuff of the blast from your past sneaking up on you, and it's also causing these narcissistic complexes that are really cropping up in young people. Kids these days, they don't want to be told nothing. They are, their parents coddle them at home. They are the thing at home. We treat our kids these days like queens and kings when they're children. We treat them like they're our best friends. We give them all these ridiculous electronics before they're even in preschool. And we think that this isn't going to cause big egos, right? So we got these kids on social media platforms thinking that they're the best thing in the world. They believe because they're successful or have X followers on the TikTok or X followers. Hey, 7,265 best friends on Facebook. People they've never met before. So these kids tend to get a concept of the world, a concept of their place in the world that is so much bigger than their own britches. And then they go out into the real world. And boy, they discover no one cares about them. They get their first job and the boss hands them the checklist, make sure all this is done before you go home, and on there is cleaning the toilets. And these kids are like, you know who I am? I am X on TikTok, and look at all my followers, and look at all this, and look at all these posts, and look at all these comments. And the boss is like, yeah, but you want this paycheck? Go clean that toilet. And they just can't, their heads explode. Their heads literally explode. Their brains fracture. At home and on video, they are one thing, and they can't separate it from being a real human being in the real world where nobody cares. Nobody cares about your problems in the real world. Not really. People are looking for the drama like this, the YouTube, the Twitter, the TikTok, that type of drama, and they're feeding off of it. And that's the only reason why, at the moment, you're a big deal. They're feeding off of your misery. They're feeding off of your drama. And kids don't understand that. And then, like I said, they go to school and their friends are like, ooh, I see you got 10,000 subscribers on your TikTok or whatever. And they become a big deal at school and every facet of their life. And then they run up against people like me who hire these kids and are like, go clean the toilet. And if you want your paycheck, you're going to clean the toilet for us. And, you're going to be nice to the customers. You're going to put a smile on your face because my customers don't know who you are and they really don't care. All they want is their orders fulfilled, and you're going to do it with a smile. And they crack. They can't do it. So it's quite a sudden shock of becoming a nobody in a world that you always valued yourself way above everybody else. And the reality is a very harsh pill to swallow for our young people. It's terrible. People need to embrace their past. What you put out into the world, you are going to receive back. So embrace your past. If you put scandalous stuff out into the world, you're in you have 20s, okay? And you do some videos and they're a little bit, we'll say it's the hip hop videos, and they're a little bit risque. Understand, you're going to have to answer to that at some point in your life when you're in your 30s and 40s and 50s. So whatever you put out there on social media, whatever you record, whatever is going to outlast you as a human being, anything that your kids can find, it's going to be rough. It's going to be rough when it's found, and it's going to, in some cases, be very, very devastating. And in some cases, people are going to question your current state of life. Like, how can you, this is the perfect example. Here's the scandal back in the past, in the early 2000s, and here you are now doing a very good thing for people. So how do you reconcile that? And that's basically, what's being asked. Reconcile this for us so that it doesn't ruin the good work that you're doing now. That's kind of how it was posed, short and synopsis. And, people are allowed to evolve and change throughout their lifetime. So we ask the question of these people, and then if they do not want to answer it, you know, that in some way that is their prerogative. Will it hurt with their good works now? I don't know. I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. Maybe if it's found out that it was a fraudulent situation, it will definitely devastate this person's good works now, because a lot of trust has been put in this person by a lot of different people, be they famous people or the survivors themselves. So that's good. That's going to be rough if it turns into a bigger fakery thing. But people are allowed to evolve and change throughout their lifetime. My 20-year-old self, my viewpoints that I had then and the viewpoints I have now are completely different. Those viewpoints I had in my 20s and in my 30s, that they're a shadow of the 52-year-old woman that I am now. I mean, I've just evolved. And yes, I did believe X then, and I believe Z now, and that is it. And I'm not explaining it to nobody. I grew up, you know. Luckily, I'm from a generation that didn't have to grow up in front of a camera, that didn't throw their lives up on social media. So whatever I believed in my 20s, there's a core group of people that knew how I was back then and knew that. And these people were all my peers. They also grew up, and all our beliefs changed. All our viewpoints changed as we got older and got married and started having children. And, now I'm a Mima. So what I believed rearing children back then, some stuff I just don't subscribe to now. Sorry, kids. You were the experiments for me being a grandma. But, and that is that. That's how we are. We're supposed to grow as human beings, not stay stagnant. And I'm really sorry that this thing is happening, this scandal's happening, because it's like they want people to stay stagnant where they are, and your past doesn't define you. So if you're going through some kind of rough spot with people in your life, and whether you're in high school or you're a grown adult on social media, your past doesn't define you unless you trap yourself into your past. And unfortunately, with this scandal brewing, it's kind of trapping. Eliza's kind of trapping herself into her past by not giving out some information that could clear this all up in a heartbeat. Instead, it's just total drama. And it's the same thing when you're in high school. What happens in your life when you're young is not going to matter when you're older. It's not going to matter in your 50s who liked you in high school or who you hung out with in high school. All those people go away right after graduation anyways. So that's that. And you're allowed to grow. You're allowed to evolve. You're allowed to change your opinion. You're allowed to have different beliefs, because that's part of your human experience. You're not out in the world having a human transaction. We're not rigid. We're flexible and flowing. So flex and flow with your beliefs as you grow and have that human experience. And I can look back on my past and say, in my 20s, I believed one thing, and through life experience, I now believe in another. So that's what we have to say. This stuff, this social media stuff, this is going to trap us all. It's going to bite us in the butt at least once or twice. And you just got to be of the mindset where you don't care, and you will answer questions when they come up, when people dig into your past and find your trail, your digital trail. Well, guys and dolls, my beautiful creatures of the world, don't forget, carpe diem, because nobody promised you a tomorrow. Ciao.